Before the town yawns awake, before alarm clocks, coffee pots, and commuter traffic, there is Rosie's Bakery, a flicker of light in a sleeping world. It smells like cinnamon and second chances, and behind the counter, flour on her cheeks, grief in her spine, Marisol kneads silence into dough, as if the right recipe might bring her father back, or her brother, or the part of herself she left behind the day that letter came. Some places bake more than bread. Some places remember for the rest of us. 4:03 a.m., the hour when night sweats its last. Marisol Rivera's hands moved through dough like she was searching for something lost in its folds. Maybe the weight of her mother's fingers guiding hers 20 years ago. Maybe just proof she could still create instead of destroy. The bakery's neon sign buzzed like a dying insect, painting her apron bloody red. Across the street, shadows pooled where a man would soon sit. A man whose name she'd never ask, whose story she'd never demand. Some silences are a form of mercy. The recipe called for 6 minutes of kneading. Marisol gave it 8. The extra punishment was for the landlord's raised rent, for the way Javier accidentally brushed against her hip yesterday, for the voicemail from the hospital she still hadn't deleted. "Miss Rivera, your biopsy results." Flour puffed up like a ghost. Outside, the bench creaked under a new weight. She didn't look. Not yet. The dough needed one last fold, a tucking in of edges, the way her mother used to fix her sheets when nightmares woke her. He sat like the town's forgotten monument, coat buttoned wrong, left elbow jutting at the angle of a healed break. The stray dog sniffed near his boots, but didn't beg. Marisol watched through the fly-specked window as the man peeled the lid off the coffee she'd left. His hands shook, yes, but not from withdrawal. These were the tremors of a man who'd held too much, a soldier's grip gone slack. She knew that shake. Her father's hands had done the same after Fallujah. The napkin was cheap enough to see through, but he handled it like parchment. First the corners smoothed, then the edges folded inward, methodical as a barracks bed. When he tucked it into his breast pocket, Marisol's own chest ached. That exact spot had held her father's VA card until the funeral director pried it from stiff fingers. She turned away before the old man could catch her staring. Some griefs recognize each other without introductions. "Dude's probably got a nicer car than us," Javier laughed, elbow deep in whipped cream. "Bet he's some trust fund baby slumming it." Marisol focused on the knife, its blade splitting a poppy seed bagel clean down the middle. "Just like Mom taught you. Steady hands." The cream canister hissed. Javier's voice dropped. "Or maybe he's her sugar daddy." The knife slipped. Blood bloomed in the bagel's crevice like jam. Funny how the mouth that stole her tips could still make her bleed. Rose's knuckles hit the counter like falling marbles. "Your mama did this too," she muttered, pushing a scratch lottery ticket toward Marisol. Winter of '98, she fed those strikers for 6 weeks, even after they slashed her tires. The ticket's numbers swam. 03-18-05. Her mother's birthday. Marisol tucked it into her apron, right where the old man kept his napkins. Some debts aren't meant to be paid, just remembered. She didn't place the bag in his hands. That would require eye contact, and eyes were traps. They demanded answers to questions she couldn't ask. Instead, Marisol set it beside him like a peace offering, muttering about extra inventory. The old man's nostrils flared at the scent of ham and melted cheddar. His Adam's apple bobbed, not from hunger, from the shock of being remembered. When was the last time someone knew his order? The screen glowed with surgical precision. Virtue signaling. That bum punched a cop last year. Marisol's thumb hovered over the keyboard. What could she say? That she'd seen the old man share his role with the stray dog yesterday. That his boots, though cracked, were polished with military precision. The comments multiplied like mold. She closed the app. Outside, the bench sat empty. The wind carried a napkin toward the storm drain. One more thing the town would swallow whole. 1999. The kitchen smelled of cumin and wet wool. Little Marisol watched her mother ladle pozole into a stranger's hands. A man whose beard hid scars, whose jacket dripped on the linoleum. "Why's he here?" she'd whispered. Her mother's wedding band clinked against the pot. "Because tonight, our table's bigger than our fear." Now, 20 years later, Marisol stared at the empty bench. The rain hadn't stopped, just changed shapes. The journal fell open to a page warped by old tears. Her mother's handwriting slanted like someone writing on a moving train. "Fed Corporal Mendez today. He cried into his coffee. Said it was the first thing that tasted like home since '73. Marisol traced the smudged ink. Outside, the old man coughed. A wet, hollow sound. She added honey to his coffee the next morning. Some medicines don't come in bottles. The bench held only ghosts now. Steam curled from the coffee cup like a last breath. Marisol touched the rim, still scalding. He had been here minutes ago, so why did the air feel excavated? The napkin was gone, but in its place, 2 dimes and a penny arranged in a triangle. Heads up, a veteran's call sign. Her father used to leave the same on restaurant tables. For the next troop who needs coffee. The wind snatched the coins away before she could decide if this was a thank you or a goodbye. Gustavo's office smelled of burned almond extract and bad decisions. "Health department's on my ass," he lied, tapping a pristine inspection certificate. "Either feed him out back like trash, or you're both gone." Marisol's flour-caked nails bit her palms. She'd heard this tone before, from the bank manager repossessing her mother's oven, from the coroner saying, "We need the casket by noon." The envelope of tips in her apron grew heavier. "I'll use the alley," she said. "Some surrenders leave blood in your teeth." The screen blazed with sanctimony. "Enable much? That's our tax dollars at work." A meme photoshopped the old man's face onto a zombie. Marisol's thumb hovered over comment. What could she say? That she'd seen him scrub pigeon shit off the bakery's awning at 5 a.m. That his tremors matched her father's nerve damage from Kandahar. The phone buzzed. A notification from Santa Isabel Community Watch. Homeless encampment by the river. Report suspicious activity. She chucked her phone into the dough mixer. Let them eat silence. Somewhere near the Syrian border, Sergeant Mateo Torres wrote by red lens flashlight. "Dad, remember that bakery near my base? The one that smelled like Abuela's pan dulce? When I get back, let's go there. Just us. No medals, no speeches. Just coffee." The mortar round hit before he could dot the I. The letter made it home. The body took 3 weeks. They sent his dog tags in a Ziploc bag, still streaked with hummus from his last meal. The alley swallowed her flashlight beam whole. Marisol stepped over used needles and a single child's mitten. There, by the dumpster, his cap, crusted with something dark. She lifted it slowly. Not blood. Motor oil. The same brand her dad used in his Harley. A crumpled photo clung to the lining. A young soldier grinning by a Humvee. She pocketed both. Some questions aren't meant to be answered aloud. Her mother's journal fell open to a water-stained page. December 7th, 2001. Gave Thomas my winter coat today. He leaves for Afghanistan tomorrow. When he cried, I told him tears salt the bread better. Lieutenant, nothing makes war taste palatable. Marisol touched the smudged date. Pearl Harbor Day. History doesn't repeat. It stutters. Outside, rain sheeted down like the sky was trying to bleach the sidewalk clean. The grizzled man at counter 4 froze mid-sip. That's Torres, he rasped, stabbing the photo with a finger missing its tip. 101st Airborne. Son died in Syria. Friendly fire, they claim. Bullshit. His prosthetic leg knocked the chair as he stood. After the funeral, Ignacio just walked. The veteran dropped a 20 on the table. Keep feeding him. It's the only chow hall he's got left. The bell jingled too cheerfully as he left. Officer Ruiz's smile didn't reach his eyes. We've had complaints about loitering. His partner eyeballed the day-old croissants like they might jump him. Marisol wiped her hands slowly. He's never stepped inside. Ruiz leaned in, breath reeking of nicotine and spearmint. Funny, he's got your napkins in his pockets. That a love language, Marisol? The oven timer screamed. She pulled out the charred loaf without gloves. Let them watch her burn. In the dream, her mother stood in a bakery that kept stretching backward into a trench. A young soldier, Mateo, her father, reached for bread with hands missing fingers. It's okay, her mother crooned, wrapping the loaf in a VA hospital pamphlet. Hunger's the only draft notice that never expires. Marisol woke, gasping. The oven's glow through the kitchen door looked like artillery flash. The clock read 3:14 a.m., the witching hour. Or the warriors. The chair shattered against the walk-in freezer. Marisol screamed into her apron, a sound so guttural the mice fled. Flour drifted like chemical fallout. For 6 months, she'd swallowed every insult, every leer, every just being practical. Now the dam broke. She hurled a rolling pin at the Employee of the Month photo. Javier's smarmy grin obliterated by stainless steel. Outside, thunder cracked. Or maybe it was her ribs finally snapping under the weight of all she hadn't said. The SUVs didn't park. They occupied. 4 matte black vehicles aligned with surgical precision, their antennas quivering like scorpion tails. Through the flour-dusted window, Marisol counted 12 polished boots hitting the pavement in perfect unison. No slamming doors, no shouted orders, just the whisper of nylon straps adjusting against rifles. The colonel's insignia gleamed unnaturally bright, as if the sun had chosen this moment to remember its job. Her reflection in the glass looked foreign, flour streaked like war paint, lips moving in silent prayer to a god she'd stopped believing in the day the VA denied her father's claim. The stationery smelled of gun oil and cheap cologne, the kind sold in PX stores near bases. Ignacio's handwriting staggered across the page like a wounded man crawling. Tell the baker her bread tasted like Sunday mornings before church, like before my boy shipped out, like before I forgot how to pray. Marisol's vision doubled, the words blurring into her father's last grocery list, still pinned under a magnet. Milk, eggs, forgive me. The colonel's glove creaked as he saluted. Some silences are louder than 21 gun salutes. The folded flag in Ignacio's lap absorbed the rain, growing heavier than his son had been at birth. Mateo's headstone read, Bronze Star recipient, but the dates beneath, 1994 to 2017, were the real epitaph. 23 years wasn't a life. It was a trailer for one they'd never get to see. The napkin from Rosie's bakery went into the grave lost, placed over his boy's heart. Let the earth have something pure. Let the worms taste mercy. When the colonel raised his hand, the entire street stilled. Not just the gawking customers, the sparrows mid-flight, the espresso machine's hiss, even the flies orbiting the day-old danishes froze. Marisol's flour-caked fingers rose instinctively to her own forehead, mirroring the gesture. Through the bakery window, their reflections overlapped, her red apron bleeding into his dress blues. The soldiers outside held their salute for 11 seconds, exactly how long it takes a mortar round to arc from launcher to impact. Mr. Raoul's veteran cap hit the counter like a gauntlet. The old teacher didn't speak, just slid a photo across the formica. 1968, a skinny kid in jungle fatigues, arm in arm with another soldier. PFC Torres, he rasped. Saved 6 of us at Hue. Never took credit. The bell jangled again as he left. On the counter, a challenge coin gleamed. 1st Cavalry Division. Never forgotten. Marisol placed it beside the register, where everyone would see. Some apologies don't need words. The girl couldn't have been older than 10, her braids fraying like old rope. Abuelo kept these, Lucia whispered, unloading a Ziploc bag of napkins onto the counter, each folded into intricate origami cranes. He said bakers are angels who work the night shift. Marisol's hands trembled as she smoothed one crane's wings. The ink had bled where tears fell, transforming Rosie's bakery logo into something resembling a medal. Grief folds us into shapes even we don't recognize. The coin appeared overnight, Semper Fidelis, gleaming beside the sugar packets. No note, no fingerprints, just the faint scent of gunpowder and old spice. Marisol turned it under the light, revealing a serial number etched along the edge. Asterisk MT-724-2017. Mateo Torres' service ID. The oven timer screamed. She slid the coin into her apron pocket, right where her father's dog tags had once rested. Some debts settle themselves in currencies only soldiers understand. The girl's hoodie sleeves swallowed her hands whole. My dad's deployed, she mumbled, eyes fixed on the floor. Mom cries in the shower, so I won't hear. Marisol added 2 extra chocolate chips to the muffin, a rebellion against her own no extras policy. The girl's gasp was worth Gustavo's inevitable lecture. As the bell jingled, Marisol caught her own reflection in the pastry case. For the first time in years, she looked like her mother's daughter. The security camera footage would later show it. A single frame where Ignacio Torres smiled, just as he bit into the cheddar roll on day 7, just for 1/30th of a second. Marisol never saw it live. Some kindnesses are like that, brightest when no one's looking. The timestamp read 6:14:22 a.m., exactly when Mateo's platoon had breached their last objective. Coincidences are God's way of staying anonymous. The oven's glow through the soaped glass never quite extinguished. Not at closing, not at 3 a.m. when the rats held parliament by the dumpsters. It pulsed like a heartbeat, like a lighthouse, like the lost radio signal from a downed chopper. Marisol left it on intentionally now. Let the electricity bill come. Let Gustavo rant. Some lights aren't meant to go out. Outside, the bench sat empty. The stray dog slept beneath it, guarding a half-eaten roll wrapped in a napkin no wind could steal. Grief never leaves, but neither does love. In the quiet corners of everyday life, even the smallest acts, baking a roll, folding a napkin, offering a salute, can carry the weight of memory, redemption, and grace. Some debts are paid not with words, but with warmth. If this story moved you, share it with someone who's served, someone who's waiting, or someone who needs reminding that kindness never expires. Subscribe for more stories that honor the quiet heroes among us, the bakers, the fathers, the forgotten. And leave a comment. Who do you keep the oven light on for?